Hi, I'm Swetha and I own the Pen Paints Brushes page on Instagram. It's been a really good time I'm having with painting. Thank you, Zen Sangam, for constantly supporting artists. Yeah, I'm happy to be here. Thank you, Zen Sangam, again. Um, Today, this is the bookmark that we are going to do. As you can see, it's I really like the color palette I chose. I think it was just very random. I just started it out very randomly to do this, and I decided I'll just cut this off and see how it looks, and then it happens to be very pretty, and I think it's safe to say that I'm obsessed with this now. So this is what we're doing. I'm going to switch my camera so you can see all the materials that are required. So let's see all the materials that we need to make this bookmark. This is what I've been having. So this is obviously from the paper is from Zen Sangam. I have made this with the artist's gouache pad, the bookmark one, but I also I just used it to see how the thickness works. But the watercolor paper works better because they're almost the same thickness. They're both 300 GSM papers. As you can see, these are a bit like this paper has a bit of texture, whereas the watercolor paper has a very smooth texture. I really like if my papers are cold press, I really love doing watercolors on them. I don't really enjoy painting on hot press papers. So this is what we're doing. So there you go. I'm using this Zen Sangam's Expert Artist watercolor pad. They are acid free, and yeah, they're 25 into 10 centimeter, which is enough space to paint. I mean, like, the more space you have, the more freedom you have to create whatever you want. So I really like how this one is. It has actually it's a really good one because it has about 60% cotton. So the more cotton you have, the more absorption the paper will have, and you can just go on layering as much as you want. Okay. So I'm using this, like I told you before. I'm taking a paper. It's pretty thick. It's 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 satisfactorily very thick, so I really like this. You need to get this out of the pad properly. I already have a few papers out. These are my papers. There you go. I've got two papers. So I already have a rough sketch of what we're doing. So this is what we're going to be doing, and I will show you the materials that we need. It's this watercolor paper, watercolors. These are the color palettes that I have chosen for the day: soft lilac, dioxin violet, perlin maroon, just yellow, and raw umber. You can totally skip these color because it's just going to be. I was thinking we could just have like a rustic look on these part that's just holding this peony and this butterfly together, but you can choose not to. It's completely your own. It's completely up to you. You don't have to worry about it. Also, please do not feel that you need to stick to this color palettes. This is flowers and a butterfly. You can choose whatever color you want to be, because like I said, art is supposed to liberate you, and art means freedom. So we're going to start. These are the materials required. I'm using brushes, random brushes. You don't have to follow a particular brand or anything. You can just choose whatever colors you want. Hi, which paints are you using, Priya Lakshmi? I don't particularly mind whatever brand it is. I use a lot of brands. I find a lot of brands actually useful, but you could find on my Instagram the art supplies that I use. You can find them there. So at the moment, I'm just using different colors from different brands. So I really cannot pin it down. And what is the size of the bookmark that you have? This is actually a 25 centimeter. Obviously, this is 25 centimeter, and this is 10 centimeters. So that's the we were doing the materials required. So let's just go with the materials required. I'm using random brushes, watercolors, obviously water to wash down your brushes. I'm using a pencil. I've also got a hobby knife, also called as a hobby scalpel, and this is the best that I've been using. I think I think this is very safe, so I use this scalpel. I've got masking tapes. I've got a rubber and tissues to just wash my to just clean my brushes. I could share the reference picture for about 5 minutes if that's all right. You can have this as a reference. This is a darker image. You can have this. I think this is of no use, but this is. You can use this. I'm going to just start doing the painting now. So these are the colors that we need for the painting at the moment. So this is Perylene Maroon. So I really like this color. That's why I have chosen this. So I'm just going to start painting. Pink water here. I have a tissue for immediately just getting my brush cleaned. There you go. I'm using my brush. So I'm just taking a little bit of color, a little bit, and I'm just going to, there you go. Added this color here. And I'm going to spray a little bit of water to get it diluted. I think I need a bit lighter color. The more you dilute a very highly pigmented watercolor, the more beautiful and more transparent the watercolor will look. So this is what I've been using. I'm going to use a slightly thicker brush. This is a size 8, or you can just use whatever brush you are comfortable with. You don't have to be controlled by one particular rule or anything. So I'm just going to start painting these. Just make sure around this flower stamen you don't put a lot of highly pigmented colors, because I'm going to use yellow. But if you accidentally use watercolors on top of it, there's no problem at all. You can very well use a gouache, yellow gouache, to just put those stamens back on, because obviously uh, gouache paints are more opaque and they're very versatile. A lot of people actually find watercolors very, very intimidating, but it's actually the easiest to use. Uh, if I can tell you how easy it is to use, when we are kids, the very first medium that we are usually introduced to in terms of paint is watercolors. The 10 rupee watercolor thing, or the poster colors are occasionally similar to watercolors, but I wouldn't say they are the same. But watercolors are actually easy for children to use because they bring out a number of colors, so you don't really have to worry about any of those kind of never find watercolor intimidating. It's one of the easiest mediums to work with. I'm not saying this because I've been using watercolors for years and years, but I just find it very easy. I've just done this. I'm going to use a slightly smaller brush. I'm using a size 2 round brush, but you can use any brush that you are comfortable with. Like I said earlier, please do not be please do not follow a particular rule, or like, it's fine. It's art you're learning, so every day is every day is just learning day, so let's be chill about it. You're gonna have to wait for the watercolors to dry. So I'm just seeing if this is dry. I could give it some more time for it to dry. Um, I would also really suggest one more trick about watercolors. You don't have to use your usual graphite black pencil. You can use different ones. I just use different mechanical pencil leads because I feel like they hide the colors better. You see this almost camouflages with the colors that I've used. So I really like these colors, very light ones, and they are easily erasable, so they're fine. I use them. And the best thing is, if you are drawing stamens and you want them to stand out with yellow paint, if you decide your stamens are to be in yellow, I would really suggest you to have a sharp orange pencil and draw these stamens. And when you paint them yellow, they already look like you have actually double painted them, and you can show the shadows and everything. So I really like doing this trick because I'm horrible when it comes to minute painting, so I find this a bit easier for me. I'm taking the brush and I'm mixing some colors. It's going to be slightly thicker color. Can you see the difference? Can you see the dilution between this and this? This has about 70% watercolors and just 30% water. This is exact opposite. This is just 30% watercolor and 70% water. So yeah, we'll go with painting it. I'm use it, wet the entire brush. Just make it a little bit damp, and using the tip of your brush, gather some watercolor, and you're going to add it in the crevices of this flower. That's it. You've added a beautiful shadow. You just have to blend these. A lot of people make the mistake of not blending it all the way here. Blend it all the way to the end. That's it. There you go. You've got a nice flower with that really good shadow and effects. You might have to add these colors in the uh, in the in these little tiny corners. So you can really show that the petal of the flower is folded. I don't know. My dad's into all these botanical things, so he knows the right word. But I'm not sure I'm not using the right words. Folding is not it, but yeah. Um, do we have to wait for the first layer to I would really appreciate if you wait for the first layer to dry, because then you won't be able to make these very fine detailings of light and shadows in it. You could just wait for like a minute or two. You are fine. You could just wait for a minute, because you see, here I did not wait for it to dry. You see how the colors are just spreading like a ink blot. It's just like spreading everywhere. But I waited for this to dry, and it has very, very sharp lines. You see the difference? That's exactly why I actually did this before it was completely dry. So that's how we do it. When you are adding these shadows, you have to be pretty quick with blending these, because they could form layers. Uh, There's just 2 more petals left. When you come to the inner part of this flower, when the petals are very close to the stamens, I would actually go as dark as I can, because it's just going to be very pretty, because that's watercolors is just all about the concentration of the paint that you use. So you can just go crazy with shadows and everything. So the flower is done. There you go. It's the flower. Make a little bit of changes here and there, just little ones. Been doing, adding a little bit of shadows, and the flower is done. There you go. The flower has come to life. Does anybody else want to show their flowers to me? If they are all right with it, you can just show it up to the camera. Can you all please give me a thumbs up if we to check if I can move to the butterflies and that we are done with the flowers? Not able to create shadows, but color looks absolutely gorgeous. Oh, it does look really good. I really like it, Siddharaj, but I can show you a trick. I can show you what you're doing. I can just teach you like a quick thing. I'm just going to quickly draw a petal here. This is the petal that we are having. Let us just assume the light is coming from this side. Let's just assume the light is like this. So shadows will be like this on this side. Light is here. So that's how the light will be. I'm just going to use a very diluted color. I can show you with the lilac. I'm using very diluted lilac. You wait for it to dry. Just wait for it to dry. And let's go for a little bit darker shade. Since I did not make a concentrated lilac, I'm using a different violet here to show you. I'm using a different violet. I think this has, just use your wet brush. Just load it with watercolors and add it in this corner. The thing is, it is just not over here. You take the brush, make it damp, get rid of excess water. It should just be close to damp, but not too dry. So I'm just making it a bit damp. And you see the tip of this brush, just do that. Do it once more. And it's blended perfectly. That is how you do it. If you feel the colors are coming a little bit excess, bring it to the center, add some more water, and there you go. So technically the light's from here. Have you got the shadows properly? Which type of paper you use for this? Do you mean the paper that I'm using to show this lesson is also from Zen Sangam? This is also from Zen Sangam. Siddharth, I hope I helped you. I have just got another question to answer. So, oh, sorry. This is the artist watercolor pad that I use from Zen Sangam. You can see it's Zen Sangam, and it's the artist watercolor pad. It's 25 into 10 centimeters. It's exclusively for bookmarks, and it's 300 GSM, pretty thick, and has about 60% cotton, so holds a lot of water. And it's acid free, making it all more easier for us to work with. And it's a glued pad, so you can just keep taking papers out of it. So it's not bound, so you don't have to worry about it's being with the pad. You can just take it out. That's what I'm using. 180, does 180 GSM work for this? It could work, but you might not be able to use watercolors because watercolors need a bit thicker paper, and they need papers that are at least about 200 GSM. But if you are using 180 GSM, I would really suggest you use gouache paints because they're just one layers. You can just layer on top of it, and it does not matter if the paper cannot hold a lot of water or anything. I think gouache should be fine on that. But you can as well use soft pastels. You can use color papers. You can use any media. It's just that people here like doing watercolors, so they're all doing watercolors. You can use um, soft pastels. You can use crayons. You can use color pencils. You can just make black and white. You can use fine liners and make just black and white things if you don't like anything to be colorful. Yeah, 180 GSM is all right, but you have to change the painting medium. Pragya Swastika has asked me if I can tell the difference between carmine and crimson. Carmine, I can show you the difference between carmine and crimson. We can go for a digital version at the moment. So this is the color carmine and crimson. Absolutely, I can show you the difference now. We can actually bring that color now. I'm just taking two papers. We can mix the colors. I've got crimson with me already. This is the crimson that I have in my hands at the moment. Just showing you. You see, crimson has a bit of rose notes on it. Do you know what? Do you understand what I mean? This is crimson. We can create carmine now. We just have to mix, let's say, scarlet red. Mixing a little bit of the same crimson. Let's just try working it out. I've never used carmine for any of my flowers, but that's a beautiful color now that you've reminded me of. I'm using a little bit of scarlet red. There you go. Scarlet red. I'm mixing it. They should be I might have to go for a darker shade of red, or uh, have you heard of the color Indian red? We're just going to give Indian red a try mixing. Let's just try mixing it with Indian red. Oh yeah, we got the color. So I used Indian red, scarlet red, and crimson. So I got this color. This is the closest I could bring to carmine. So can you see the difference between this is carmine and this is crimson? Can you see the difference? This has a bit of a red note, red brown note, and this is